Hey class, today's lesson is on specialization and voluntary exchange. This is standard SSEF 3. Explain how specialization and voluntary exchange influence buyers and sellers. Today's student learning objectives. In this lesson, students will be able to A. Explain how and why individuals and businesses specialize, including the division of labor, and B. Explain that both parties gain as a result of voluntary, non-fraudulent exchange. So, first off, what is specialization? Well, specialization can be observed when individuals or businesses concentrate on a single activity or an area of expertise when producing a good or service. Specialization can boost the productivity of a business or country when done correctly, and for example, firms or businesses might use specialization through the division of labor in the production of good. Now, in the last bullet, it's very important to understand that firms are businesses and businesses are firms. They are one and the same. However, in the state standards, it's required that you understand that firms are businesses. Now, in the next several slides, I've got pictures, and what I want you to do is I want you to take the pictures and take your reading guide. I want you to write down the things that you see in relation to specialization and explain how, using the picture, we can explain what specialization is. So the first picture is several employees that work at McDonald's, and they're serving what looks like a soldier. What I would like for you to do is look at the picture and explain and understand exactly how specialization is shown throughout the workers and their roles within this particular McDonald's. Take a few moments, pause the video, and write the things that you see and how they relate. Okay, so momentarily, once you've completed this, we'll likely go over this as a class and make sure that everybody understands how specialization relates in this particular instance. So moving on to picture number 2. This is a crew of fishermen who deep sea fish for work and for their jobs. Okay. How does specialization relate to them, and how do they fit into the concept and the idea of specialization? Take a few moments, write your answers down, and continue. Okay, this is a butcher from any local butcher's market. Again, the question is, how does this picture show or support the idea and concept of specialization? Write your answers down and we'll talk about them later. Okay, in this example, this is a bakery. Okay, and I do not want you to get so caught up on the concept of specialization within the roles of the employees. Now, if you want to put this for further clarification and understanding, that would be okay. But I really kind of want you to focus on the role of a bakery in society as a specialized business or firm. Take a few moments to write your answer down. Okay, so some of the benefits of specialization. So I want you to think about and look at the fast food example that we used in the picture earlier. So a major benefit, let's say we take a person that works in the drive-through and the cook. Specialization within McDonald's would only exist if one person works in the drive-through and that is their only job. And understand it could be more than just one person, but that is their only job. Meanwhile, there is one or two or three cooks, and the only thing that they do is cook the food. Okay, because they only have one job. This is a division of labor. We're not combining multiple roles or multiple responsibilities or jobs within one, and the drive-through person work as the chef. Instead, we're dividing their labor, and now the drive-through worker is specializing while the cook is specializing in something else. Both employees should and will get better at their tasks through repetition and can do the task more quickly with fewer errors. This is absolutely one of the biggest benefits of specialization in regards to the division of labor. Many businesses specialize with their employees by departmentalizing and dividing up the labor. They do this so that there are fewer errors, which creates greater efficiency, and employees can get their jobs done faster. This is very important to businesses. The fast food restaurant, McDonald's, for example, that chose to specialize in convenient ready-made meals would probably not try to offer gourmet fine dining at the same time, and instead they would let other restaurants specialize in that type of cuisine. Say, for example, Olive Garden or Longhorn, or insert any other sit-down business, sit-down restaurant, that dine-in restaurant that you would choose. Instead, McDonald's chooses to specialize in ready-made meals in which you're going to obtain your dinner and you're going to consume it within 20 minutes and be completely done within, say, 20 minutes. You can even get it and take it home. Typically, at a gourmet or fine dining establishment, you would not do this. You would sit with colleagues or family or friends or business partners, and you would discuss things over a rather lengthy dinner that is of different quality. Okay, now we move on to voluntary exchange. This is incredibly important that you understand. Specialization does not work under any circumstances without voluntary exchange. So the question is, what is voluntary exchange? Well, voluntary exchange occurs when two economic actors, for example, individual A and individual B, or individual A with business B, or individual A with government C, in any order that you want to place them in. Voluntary exchange occurs when two economic actors willingly trade one item for another because the value of the item they are receiving is greater at the time than the item they are giving up to receive. So it's very important to understand that we all value things differently. You've heard the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. This is true in any and all trades. Voluntary exchange is nothing more than a trade, but it is a willing trade between multiple people. Now, if we took paper and pencils, for example, something that may be very valuable to you might be paper, because paper is more scarce for you than it is for me, whereas pens or pencils may be more scarce for me but not so much for you, because these two items are both less scarce to each other or for each other. We can now trade that item for what we are lacking. So for example, I would trade paper to you, you would trade pens to me, and when we are acting and making this trade and this change, this is voluntary exchange. Okay, and it's very important. We're both willing to make this trade, but we both gain, because for me, I have somewhat of an abundance of paper at the time. I have more than what I need, but I need a pencil. So I'm going to trade what I have excess of. Now, while it still may be scarce, I have more than is necessary. I can take that item and now I can trade it okay, for something that is needed, and vice versa for you. While voluntary exchange can happen through barter, which is trading one good or service for another good or service, for example, paper for a pencil, it is voluntary exchange is usually facilitated through money. Understand, in many cases, if I want a hamburger, I'm going to have to pay for it with cash. If I want something to drink, I'm going to have to pay for it with cash. If I need to hire a worker for my business, I'm going to have to pay through cash. Bartering, all that is trading cucumbers for tomatoes, cantaloupe for watermelon, paper for pens, and barters are typically take place in countries that are less developed. Now, buyers can be household consumers, they can be firms or businesses, or they could be governments. Sellers can also be any combination of the three. Sellers can be household consumers, firms or businesses, or governments. Now, again, here's a picture, okay? Write down in your reading guide some of the things that you see in this picture and how this relates and how you can see voluntary exchange going on. This is nothing more than a flea market. How is voluntary exchange seen through flea markets? Take a few moments and write your answer.